Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is Kodeations coming at you today with another video on Cookie Run Kingdom. And today we're gonna be revisiting the good old tier list, baby. That is right. If you guys don't already know, over a month ago I made the original best cookies to build tier list guide, and today we're gonna be revisiting that. We're gonna be adding the brand new cookies that we've had since then, and then hopefully, like I said, you guys can get a better understanding of what cookies are worth the investment starting out on day one. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Diving right in, ladies and gentlemen, before we officially jump into building this tier list, I wanted to give a massive shout out to the loser squad over in the official Cookie Run Kingdom Discord. Man, these guys have done a fantastic job for compiling not only this tier list, but also a ton of information into a Google document. I will provide the link down below in the description for you guys to go check it out, because the information provided is ridiculous, insane value for every player that is playing this game. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So for the first cookie we've got here on the SS rank, and that's going to be inevitably Vampire Cookie. All right, if you guys don't already know, Vampire Cookie is arguably probably the best single target damage dealer in the game, hands down. Not only does he do a ridiculous amount of single target damage over time, you're going to be pretty much utilizing Vampire through all aspects of the game, from arena, from basically top ranks in arena, from the top ranks in the world bosses like 830, 725, things like that in the world exploration. Not only that, he's going to rank really high in the guild boss damage. I think the guild boss right now, the top meta, is using a double vampire set provided by the Whisk Takers. Go check them out if you haven't checked them out yet. But nevertheless, Vampire, really good. You want to be utilizing Vampire as soon as possible in the game. Arguably the best cookie. Moving on to the next one of the SS tier, and that's going to be Pure Vanilla. Yep, Pure Vanilla just came out recently. The banner is still currently going on right now. Super rare to get, but nevertheless, at the end of the day, one of the best cookies in the game when it comes to adding overall healing to your team and also survivability, utilizing Pure Vanilla's shields. That's right. So if you're utilizing an herb right now, you get a copy of Pure Vanilla. You want to be replacing your herb with a copy of Pure Vanilla, but keep in mind, like I said, it's super rare to get Pure Vanilla, so herb is definitely still viable. All right, so that's going to complete our SS tier. Moving on to the next cookie on that list when it comes to S tier, and that is going to be the Licorice. All right, now if you guys don't already know, Licorice right now is probably arguably the best tank in the game, right? Without being a tank, if that makes any sense. So Licorice is actually a magic user. However, at the end of the day, the whole purpose behind utilizing Licorice is to mitigate a lot of that damage by utilizing the minions that Licorice actually summons. So again, really good cookie. Definitely probably replaces Milk Cookie from back in the original meta when Cookie Run Kingdom dropped off. A lot of people, and myself included, were telling the community to make sure to pick up a copy of Milk right away with your mileage points if you don't happen to get a copy of him via the gacha system. However, that has pretty much changed at this point, and Licorice has taken that spot. Licorice is going to be the new cookie that you should be investing all of your mileage points in if you get unlucky via the gacha system. Moving on to the next cookie we've got for you guys on S tier, and that's going to be Dark Choco. Again, we've covered a lot of content on Dark Choco, arguably probably the best defense cookie or charger cookie basically in the game, frontline unit, whatever you want to call them. At the end of the day, the whole purpose behind Dark Choco is to utilize his defense break, because utilizing that 20% defense break on any enemy, including bosses in this game, will allow your cookies and your team comp overall to do a lot more damage. And again, just really good cookie. Now there is going to be one thing though we'll talk about in a second as we get to one of the other cookies. Just keep in mind, Dark Choco has technically been replaced in the arena meta. All right, so again, hold your horses. We'll get to that in a second. Moving on to the next cookie for the S tier, and that's going to be inevitably Herb. Herb right now, as we know it, has been the top tier healer prior to Pure Vanilla, the only ancient cookie loading into the game officially, finally. But Herb, prior to Pure Vanilla's existence, was the top tier healer in the game. Still very viable if you do not have a copy of Pure Vanilla. Obviously still build Herb. Not only that, Pure Vanilla is a lot rarer to summon versus somebody like Herb, so definitely keep that in mind. But utilize Herb if you don't have anybody else there underneath Pure Vanilla. Moving on to the next cookie we've got for this list, and that's going to be inevitably Espresso. Espresso is going to be the best AoE burst damage dealer. Now keep in mind, it is burst damage, all right? So it's not going to be something that's going to last over time. It's not going to be doing a lot of additional damage. It's going to be doing a ton of damage, initially popping off its explosion, and then after that, you got to wait for the cooldown to come back before Espresso really, pops off, all right? So that's going to kind of lead us into the next cookie that we recommend at that S tier, and that's going to be building Latte. Now, Latte is going to work really, really nice in combination with Espresso if you run both of them on the same team. However, both of them are in that magic realm, so you're going to be sharing skill powders and things like that, so just keep that in mind. But at the end of the day, Latte is going to be providing a similar strategy as Espresso, but Latte actually has an ability that does damage over time, and it sits on the ground for a lot longer than somebody like Espresso. That's why utilizing both of them together makes a really good synergy and a really good team composition. But like I said, it's a pretty hefty when it comes to a free-to-play player and skill powder, so just keep that in mind. But both cookies are very, very good. Last but not least cookie we have for this individual tier list when it comes to S rank, and that's going to be Strawberry Crepe. Strawberry Crepe is the brand new cookie to Cookie Run Kingdom, and it's going to be going back to the Dark Choco point that I was making earlier. Strawberry Crepe has officially taken over the arena PvP meta, all right? So just keep that in mind. Strawberry Crepe is going to be what you're going to replace your Dark Choco with in your arena team comp, because Strawberry Crepe is going to directly reduce 50% of the damage for your two cookies on your team that have the lowest max HP, all right? Which is absolutely just OP when it comes to running in the arena mode. Utilizing this is going to be just something way better versus utilizing something like Dark Choco's ability, which is going to be that defense break, in the arena solely. Now, again, all other aspects and content in the game, like your world exploration, your bosses in the individual world, the later chapters, all of that stuff, guild boss, is all going to be still focused on running Dark Choco to utilize that defense break. But overall, Strawberry Crepe has replaced Dark Choco in the individual arena, so just keep that in mind. Moving on to the last three tiers we've got here for you guys, and that's going to be somewhat of surprise on the A tier, and that's going to be Black Raisin. So Black Raisin does add some AoE damage to your overall team comp, which again is really, really nice for early game players. However, it's going to take a specific team composition to really outshine somebody like Espresso in Latte when it comes to overall damage, so just keep that in mind. That's going to be why he's placed at that A rank. Moving right along to the next one, these are going to probably surprise you a lot, and that's going to be a handful of rare cookies. Now, the first rare cookie we've got is going to be Princess. Now, the reason why Princess and some of these rare cookies actually make this tier list is going to be because they're actually budget-friendly versions of some of the other epics. So Princess is going to be a budget-friendly version directly of Dark Choco because she does add that defense break as well at that rare quality. Not only that, you get several copies of Princess just from summoning in the gacha system, so promoting Princess is a lot easier than promoting something like Dark Choco, and or you might get unlucky and not even get a copy of Dark Choco, so you're just pretty much waiting out those mileage points in order to pick up a copy. So utilizing Princess in its place for the time being would be a very good option early game. Moving on to the next one, that's another really good option at that rare category, and that's going to be a budget-friendly version of Herb, and that's going to be Custard, all right? Custard is going to be your very best healer early game. I believe everybody gets a free copy of Custard, but you definitely should be utilizing him early game if you don't have the option to get Herb or pick up Herb, because some of those early stages your cookies aren't high enough level to clear, and then having that additional healing is going to only allow you to progress further and past those individual tough stages. So definitely do not sleep on Custard. Moving on to another rare cookie. Again, like I said, we've got a total of 4 rares. Moving on to the next rare, and that's going to be Blackberry Cookie. Now, Blackberry Cookie is kind of a niche cookie, and you got to basically figure out what team composition really works and synergizes well with her, but nevertheless, she's going to be directly increasing your crit % chance for all of your damage dealers, which then thus allowing you to produce additional damage. So again, another really good cookie, a support cookie that's going to add a little bit of that additional, crit damage over time. But like I said, there's a lot better options. You definitely don't want to be focusing on building a Blackberry just because it's a Blackberry. But anyways, at the end of the day, moving on to the next one here, and the last rare cookie we've got for the individual tier list, and that's going to be Adventure Cookie. Adventure Cookie is going to be a direct budget-friendly version of Vampire Cookie. And not only that, there's players right now that have actually reported a 5-star or 5-star promotion on an Adventure Cookie cookie can actually manage to hit over 1 million damage in the guild boss battle as a rare cookie, which is absurd. So if you happen to get unlucky and not get a copy of Vampire, do not feel bad about investing in an adventure cookie, especially if you're trying to utilize as much damage as possible and rank up in the guild boss battle. All right, now moving on to the last two cookies we've got for this tier, and that's going to be Pomegranate and Rye Cookie. Pomegranate is going to be a really good option because especially for guild boss battles and even arena, because Pomegranate is going to directly buff your entire team's attack power, which is going to allow you to output more damage. So in guild boss ranking higher, and then also in arena doing more damage to the enemy team, and hopefully nuking them and wiping them out before the battle even starts. Same thing goes with Rye Cookie. Rye Cookie again is going to be a little bit of a niche cookie. Works really well with synergy with like Almond to mitigate a lot of his single target damage to an AoE ability. But at the end of the day, he's not going to be the best overall damage dealer that you could run, but a really good option if you have nothing else. But at the end of the day, that's going to complete our A list. Moving on to the B tier list, and this is going to be a handful of cookies that really rely on individual team compositions in really niche, compositions. All right, so just keep that in mind. Some of these cookies, as you can see here, are actually still being utilized. I understand that. Things like Lily is still utilized for some of the stun comps. Some of the individual stages in World Exploration, you can actually utilize Lily's stun to specifically stop the boss from popping off their ability and basically nuking your entire team. But beyond that, Lily's not going to be anything that you're going to want to focus on building, especially not early game. Don't waste any of your resources. I would highly recommend just keep on summoning, utilizing the other cookies from the top tiers versus utilizing somebody like Lily. Moving on to Almond Cookie, again, a very new cookie that came out not too long ago, and also a very niche cookie, basically going to mitigate damage across multiple enemies, and that's going to be where it really comes into play, utilizing something like Black Raisin, or something like Vampire, or something like Rye Cookie, which does a lot of single target damage, and pairing with Almond allows those single target damage dealers to do a lot of AoE damage. Again, works really well, but by himself, not very useful. That's going to be why he's in that B tier. Same thing goes for Cream Puff. Again, super rare to get from the guild gacha system, and at the end of the day, just not really worth the investment overall. Milk Cookie, man, sad day. Absolutely a sad day. Milk Cookie was once in the top meta when the game first launched. Really good because of the survivability, the damage mitigation with its taunt, and also damage reduction. Really good. However, like I said before, Licorice has pretty much overtaken Milk's position at this point. I definitely don't think it's worth investing in or building up a Milk Cookie unless you have no other option, and that's what you end up having to pull very early on. Moving on to the next one, and that's going to be another free cookie that you get, and that's going to be Chili Pepper. Again, it's an early game cookie that you get. Everybody will be able to have a copy of her, and at the end of the day, there's just better versions to build like Vampire Cookie overall, so don't really invest a whole lot of time into her if you don't have to. Moving on to the next one, that's going to be Madeline Cookie. Again, I might get some arguments down below in the comment section about Madeline Cookie. Overall, not a bad cookie when you look at the skills in the kit. If you happen to get lucky and pull max promotion of Madeline, then by all means utilize her where you can until you replace her with somebody else. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of other cookies basically, in competition for her spot as that front line, like Dark Choco and Licorice, and not only that, like Strawberry Crepe eventually. So again, at the end of the day, not really usable. But again, that's going to be pretty much complete our B tier list. Now, all the rest of these cookies here down here at the C tier list, I do not recommend utilizing them. At the end of the day, they do not really hold a whole lot of value. Some of them could technically be used here and there as substitutes if you don't have anything else on any of the other tiers. And again, I would highly recommend you try to invest as little resources, especially those experience jellies, on the C tier cookies. But at the end of the day, if that's all you got, that's all you got. And if you're free to play, well, then you got to take what you get. But that's going to be pretty much it for the tier list video. Please be sure to drop a comment down below. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are on this. Do you guys agree with all of this? What you would shift around, what you would change, if anything at all. But again, thank you guys very much for tuning into the video. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notification every time we drop a video. And at the end of the day, I will see you guys on the next one.